Hello, viewers, and welcome back to Let's Do Video. I'm here with my new best friend, Taft Stricklin, a fellow Van Halen fan. We just had a long conversation. We're going to have a lot more conversations, but the reason we're here is not to talk about hair and rock and roll. It's to talk about AV over IP. I met at Infocom. I was at your booth, and I saw AV over IP, and I ran over. Because usually I cover the UC space, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams and everything, but I have been asked to consult on projects for enterprises that said, hey, we have all these screens everywhere. We got screens in the lobby. We got screens in the meeting rooms. We have all this content on my computer, and I want to get it to those screens. And I did research, and I found solutions, and I proposed different solutions years ago. And they said, oh, you know what? We're not going to do it. It's way too expensive and way too complicated. And then Taft showed me how Just Add Power does it. I'm like, oh, I wish I had access to this. So Taft, thank you so much for being here. And first, can you please introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, so I'm Taft Stricklin with Just Add Power. My official title is the Dude. You don't recognize that because I don't have my sweater on right now. But I run our global sales team, and we've got a great product and a great crew, and a great company. Lots of fun folks. So
Now maybe you
we're
could help
pretty
me out. I
busy.
have this very expensive penthouse suite boardroom down in South Florida. I'm paying $100,000 a month to rent this thing out. So I want to make it the best experience possible for my meeting attendees. And I have this nice fancy screen behind me. And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm trying to get my content up there, and it's just confusing and hard, and cables and boxes and things. So how do we do it with Just Add Power?
So with Just Add Power, we've been in business for over 30 years now. We've been doing AV over IP for 14, almost 15 years, all the way dating back to people saying, well, that's illegal. You can't run video on a network. And how are you doing that with HDMI? And basically, you've got a transmitter for every source and a receiver for every display. And in the commercial space, house of worship space, luxury residential, yacht, plane, whatever space it is, you end up with a transmitter for every source and a receiver for every display. And then you end up with your network in the middle that our wizard software will configure for you very quickly and easily. So it doesn't matter if you have 5 sources and 150 screens, or you've got 25 sources and 5 screens. And the beauty of it is that we've been able to support everything that we've released over the years. So if you bought something from us over a decade ago, couple of interesting things. 1, we still support it. 2, it's gotten some firmware updates and additional features. And 3, you can still add on to that system. So it's not dead. It doesn't just become a paperweight next year. And in that vein, we also do things like upscaling and downscaling. So when we first launched 9 years ago, our first 4K product, we had a lot of folks who had 4K screens, but they also still had 1080p screens. And we do highest common denominator. So if you've got a 4K source, it's going to play 4K on your 4K screens. And then we're going to downscale it for your 1080p and 720p screens in the project. So everything works seamlessly. And
So I don't have to make
everything
multiple
gets the
versions. I don't
best.
have to record in 4K or record in 1080p for this
Yep.
one, and it just
Yep.
handles it. Okay.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, now we're watching this source, so now we get to watch 1080p on a 4K screen. And it's a practical thing, a financial thing, and really a mental thing when you go, wow, I paid all this money and now I'm going to watch this at a lower resolution.
I want
And
to use
so,
every pixel. I paid for
yeah,
every pixel on that screen. I want to use every
yeah,
pixel on that screen.
exactly. Exactly. And then we do things like video wall, and we can rotate video, and you can pull back a preview. When we first launched product 13 years ago, we didn't do video wall. But the product that we launched then does video wall now, and it has for years, and it was a firmware update. And being able to pull back a preview of what's playing to a web window has also been huge for command and control centers, or for people that want to actually control content, or maybe it's a simple sports bar that wants to keep an eye on what's going on. And sports bar employees are the best at technology, so it's really easy for them to figure out what plays on what screen. That was a bad joke, but when they can walk up
I'll add
to
in
a
the laugh track.
yeah, there you go. When they can walk up to a device and go, "Oh, that's the black and gold sports ball game, and I want it on this screen." Right? And then it becomes very visual for them, very simple. It just becomes something you don't even have to think about. You go, "Oh, I want this here or this here," and it's very easy. So, we just celebrated our 30th anniversary last year, and just prior to COVID, we moved into a new massive facility. We're in Largo, Florida, just outside of Tampa, real close to Tampa Bay. We just got a whole ton of rain the other day.
Yeah.
And then, I run our sales team, but I'm based on the West Coast. So, yeah.
Yeah. A quick question about, we're joking about, bartender. Well, not to pick on bartenders. Most of the bartenders I know are smarter than me, but, a lot of people, they don't want to become masters at learning a new piece of software. Life is complicated enough. And, part of the problem, you already have me sold at the fact that you just add power, connect your devices, and we don't have to have a complete separate network. Because like you said in the back day, in the old days, we're not going to run this over our IP network. That's for other things. No, I'm going to use my IP network for everything. That's where I got it. That's where my content is. So you already have me at being able to just AV over IP. In those three words, you have me. But at some point, we have to run this. Now, you mentioned some kind of wizard software. So I got to spend 6 months learning how to use the software to figure out how to get control this video to this screen and this one to my lobby. How? Or is this something I can, even I don't see, bartenders are smart. Even a dumb guitarist can learn it.
There you go. So, we have config software that will config the network and all the devices and your switch, right? We have the ability to run it on your standard data network, and we have the ability to have it completely separate. And in some cases, and it's up to the company's IT person, whoever that decision maker is how they want to do it. Both ways work great. On top of that, we work with everybody's control system. So we have a basic control software that you can just use, and it can be loaded on the point of sale computer behind the bar. So you want 2 White Claws, a Mike's Hard Lemonade, and a club soda. That'll be $75, and let me change the TV at the same time.
Nice.
So, and working with every control system across the board is also, super super cool, super easy. Having drivers and allowing people to customize, and we see a lot of people we're kind of on the sports bar kick chat now, where they'll actually do the floor plan of the restaurant on the display, and then you can just kind of click, oh, I want this, this video on this screen, right? And it becomes super simple and easy.
Okay,
So,
so I don't have to hire an IT nerd to learn this. It's something.
and I think one of the important things here is that years ago, when we first got going, and you said AV over IP, or you said HDMI over IP, people looked at you and they tilted their head and went, I'm sorry, what? And then you had a lot of integrators who still had not adopted doing anything network-wise. So that was the reasoning for our Wizard software, because you can't take a car detailer and have him do an alignment tomorrow, right? Because all he knows how to do is polish it. So when you take an AV guy who can run wire, and he can, calibrate a screen, and he can install a speaker, and he can calibrate an audio system, now we're asking him to do networking stuff, and it's something that a lot of people didn't understand, didn't know how to do. That's where our Wizard software came from,
Yeah.
because AV guys weren't IT guys. IT guys weren't AV guys. So we had to come up with a magic tool in the middle that fixed all of that. And we did that years ago. And it's been fantastic. So
Great. So, anything else? I think this is becoming bigger and bigger. as we get more and more screens up, and especially now that we're partially returning to the office, we have a lot of spaces. I mostly focus on enterprise. So I'm always thinking about, big businesses, but for everything else, like you said, bars, churches, everything.
Yeah.
It's really weird to see a screen with just sitting there blank, or with a little something, the little kind of thing that bounces to the corners, the little logo.
Yeah.
We really want to be
Yeah.
using these, and it was just a turnoff about how complicated and expensive it was. So is there
Yeah.
anything else, if someone's watching this and saying, hey, we have a bunch of screens we're not using, we should learn more
Well,
about Just Add Power?
I'm going to throw one more thing in as you talked about blank screen issues. So our product, in that config setup, it'll ask you what you want to load for a custom image. So if there is no video, if something happens catastrophic, let's say somebody, you know, killed your direct TV box or your cable box or whatever your source is, it would display your default logo.
Okay.
Um, and then the other super cool thing is we can overlay a custom logo anywhere on the screen. So it could be top left, bottom right, bottom left. So
Oh,
if
like an
you do
overlay.
own a business, you actually can pop your logo over top of whatever's playing, and you have
Nice.
the ability to very easily move it around. So we don't believe in blank screens. And we also switch video instantly, which I think you saw at Infocom when we
Yeah.
switched video. You couldn't even tell that it switched other than the content changed. Um, but if people wanted to find out more about us, you could find us at justaddpower.com. And then we're active on all the socials, so we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, which is now X. Um, and we're young, hip, and cool. So we're also on Instagram.
Nice.
So
I'm still trying to figure that out. It's I need someone
yeah.
younger working for me to help me figure it out.
And then also LinkedIn. So you can find us in any of those places. And if you wanted to reach out direct to me, my first name's Taft, Taft. So it's just Taft at justaddpower.com. So yeah.
And I just want to follow up on something you mentioned, because it's something that really impressed me that I saw at the booth, was the video walls. It's one thing to say, okay, I'm sending something to this one monitor, but a video wall is sometimes composed of multiple monitors all put together, and being able to push it to that, that's obviously a very powerful feature. The fact that you're able to do
Yeah.
that, and there's a lot of people that are installing those video walls, so they're going to need a way to get content to them.
And you could hang your screens portrait or landscape, or anywhere in between, because we also have the ability to custom rotate video. So you could hang a video
Nice.
wall that's hung 17 degrees off kilter. And we can adjust video and make it level. So lots of cool things.
Now, I used to complain about that. I used to say, I see things in landscape. That's the way movies are. My eyes are next to each other, not on top of each other. I hate portrait video. I hate the 90 rotation. But you know what? Where's my phone? I lost my phone. Oh, we look at a lot of content on this thing. So we're making vertical content. I have a plugin for the software I'm using now that can record this in vertical. We're putting things on TikTok. So I'm all in on vertical content now. The world won, I lost. And so the fact that you can support vertical, yeah, people are going to be making vertical. They are making vertical content, and they have vertical screens. So we need to be able to rotate. It is a big deal.
Well, and I think vertical video is difficult for folks like you and I, where we're over the age of, I think we're both over the age of 27 now, right?
Barely.
Barely. Yeah, me too, just a little bit. So it just, I think it's kind of a generational thing. We didn't grow up with a device in our hand. In fact, when, I was an adult before the internet existed. So, I just hide my age behind the long hair.
Yeah. And the purple, I lost my purple. I need to repurple, but the purple hides in the natural platinums.
There you go.
So should we end it with a guitar joke? I have my favorite guitarist joke. I'm sure you've heard it a million times. All right. If no one laughs, we'll just cut it out.
Okay.
What do you call a guitarist after his girlfriend dumps him? Homeless. Is that a winner? All right, we're keeping it in.
Oh my God, you have no idea how funny. Yeah, that hits home. So, yes.
We have people in the green room. I could see them muted, laughing and hiding their heads and clapping. So I think that was a winner.
Oh, I'm not familiar with many guitarist jokes. So, It typically was always easiest to pick on the drummer, you know.
Why? The drummers get all the bad attention. We're always picking on the drummers.
Well, I know. I mean, you have somebody that beats on things that performs with musicians, so you know that's.
That's funny. Yeah, they just bang on stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
No, we gotta love our drummers. All right. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to have you back because this was a lot of fun. And thank you all for watching. And, you know, despite the fact that we're having fun here, this is a serious topic. We need to get some good content on those monitors. It used to be hard and expensive to do. Reach out to Just Add Power to find out the modern way of taking care of that problem. All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.